You are walking through a Long Island field. The year is 1901. A 57-meter wooden spire towers above. Beneath it sits a 36-meter bedrock shaft, built to transmit electricity through the solid earth itself.
In this video, I've gathered all 6 lost megastructures of Nikola Tesla's forgotten electrical empire.
But long before that Long Island monolith was conceived, the revolution began in a much quieter building. This is the Strasbourg Railway Workshop, a modest French repair shed where history silently shifted. Measuring just 30 meters long, it was roughly the physical size of a modern high school gymnasium.
In 1883, Tesla worked here for the Continental Edison Company, tasked with repairing direct current lighting systems.
During long nights among the broken train parts, he secretly constructed his own theoretical alternative. The walls fade to 10% opacity, revealing the world's first alternating current induction motor spinning inside.
The lost secret is how he conceptualized rotating magnetic fields entirely in his mind, without written blueprints.
He bypassed the sparking commutators of Edison's machines, utilizing geometry and alternating phases to create invisible rotation. However, his superiors in Europe dismissed the concept, forcing him to pack his theoretical models for America. The original prototype motor was ultimately dismantled, and the exact shed absorbed by expanding industrial railway yards. Today, only a plaque marks the city. But this small shed's success funded a much larger leap.
This is the Ames Hydroelectric generating plant, the world's first commercial alternating current power facility.
The wooden powerhouse sat at an elevation of 2,900 meters, higher than most modern ski resort lodges. Constructed in 1891 in Colorado, it was specifically designed to power the Gold King mine 4 kilometers away. Direct current could not span that vast distance without losing massive amounts of energy to copper resistance. The wooden walls become a translucent volume, highlighting the massive copper coils generating 3,000 volts of alternating power.
Experts still debate exactly how the Westinghouse engineers perfectly tuned the single-phase generator at such extreme freezing altitudes.
A highly pressurized water pipe dropped down the mountainside, directly striking a Pelton wheel attached to the generator. The continuous rotation provided a steady rhythm of power that finally brought heavy industry into the electric age. However, the original wooden structure was highly vulnerable to harsh winters and eventually required total reconstruction in steel. A modern plant operates there today. But 3,000 volts was nothing compared to taming the greatest waterfall on Earth. This is Adams Powerhouse number 1, the monumental cathedral of alternating current that finally illuminated the world. Measuring exactly 130 meters in length, the massive stone structure was physically larger than a professional American football field. Opened in 1895, it was funded by millionaire Edward Dean Adams to harness the raw mechanical power of the falls. Tesla and the Westinghouse Company designed the immense polyphase generators that would transform the rushing water into electrical current.
But a mystery remained. No one was entirely certain how the monstrous 5,000 horsepower generators would handle the extreme vibrational stress.
The solid stone floor dissolves to 10% opacity, revealing a 42-meter deep subterranean wheel pit housing massive spinning turbines. The precision engineering held perfectly. The plant successfully transmitted immense voltage all the way to Buffalo, changing global industry forever. Decommissioned in 1961, the main structure was dismantled. Yet, Tesla's ambitions soon shifted to something far stranger in Manhattan. This is 33 South 5th Avenue, a multi-story cast-iron warehouse that served as Tesla's secretive crucible of high-frequency invention. Spanning 4 distinct floors from ground to roof, it stood exactly as tall as a modern 5-story urban apartment building. Leased in 1892, this space was tightly packed with glowing vacuum tubes, massive copper coils, and humming resonant transformers.
The greatest unresolved legend of this iron building is the exact tuning of his notorious steam-powered mechanical oscillator device.
The exterior brickwork fades to a translucent shell, highlighting a steel oscillator clamped firmly to the central iron support pillar.
By matching the building's natural resonant frequency, the tiny machine allegedly sent terrifying artificial earthquakes through the surrounding city blocks. In March 1895, a heavy fire swept through the structure, turning years of undocumented theoretical blueprints into grey ash. Modern commercial buildings occupy the space today. The bitter loss forced Tesla westward toward a high-altitude sanctuary for wilder experiments.
This is the Colorado Springs Experimental Station, a bizarre, isolated outpost built specifically to test the electrical conductivity of the Earth.
Its central mast stretched 43 meters into the sky, reaching roughly the height of the iconic Statue of Liberty. Constructed in 1899 on the open prairie, the wooden structure housed the largest magnifying transmitter the world had ever seen. Tesla aimed to prove that electrical energy could be pumped directly into the ground and retrieved anywhere on the planet.
The specific operating frequency he used to generate 30-meter artificial lightning bolts inside this wooden barn remains fiercely debated.
The grey wooden walls vanish into a ghost volume, exposing a colossal secondary copper coil pulsing with silent electrical resonance.
He returned to New York in 1900. By 1904, the laboratory was entirely dismantled and sold to cover mounting debts.
Today, only a grassy suburban park remains, but the radical data he gathered there ignited his ultimate, impossible global dream.
Which brings us back to the Long Island monolith. This is Wardenclyffe Tower, designed to power the entire globe wirelessly.
We return to its colossal 57-meter height, a structure nearly as tall as an 18-story modern office building. Funded by financier T. Morgan in 1901, renowned architect Stamford White designed the brick laboratory that sat beneath the spire. The tower was not merely an antenna. It was a massive terrestrial tuning fork meant to vibrate the Earth's crust. The Earth turns to glass, revealing how those 36-meter subterranean iron grounding grips physically locked into the deep bedrock below. He theorized that pumping rhythmic electrical energy into the Earth would create standing waves, available to anyone with a receiver.
When Morgan realized wireless power could not be easily metered for profit, he withdrew all funding, halting the massive project.
In 1917, the United States government ordered the towering wooden spire pulled down and sold for scrap metal during wartime. The brick laboratory still stands as a museum today. Which of these lost structures would you want to see rebuilt? Tell me below.